Sky Blue Fans TV. For the fans, by the fans.
Well, good evening and welcome to another edition of the Sky Blue Fans TV. I'm Claudio, for those who don't know, and tonight we'll have Vicky on, our one of our team. If you want to know where Marlsey and Ken are, they're having a night off and leaving me to it, so anything could happen. We've got some guests on tonight. We've got Andrew coming from Sheffield Wednesday. He's a top man, and he knows everything all Sheffield Wednesday. Also tonight, I'm going to bring up one of our regulars. We'll bring him in now. Luke, good evening.
Good evening, Claudio. You okay?
How you doing, mate?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Yeah, all ready for the weekend?
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Good.
Bit nervous, but looking forward to it.
And also, I think possibly the first time he's been on is Paul. How you doing, Paul?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I'm a bit like Luke. I'm a bit nervous about Saturday. What is it? The classic sucker punch? Go and beat the champion and then lose to the.
We'll get into that soon. We've also got CJ coming on as well, hopefully, and we can start discussing about what do you reckon. I mean, firstly, before we start, we'll do spot the ball because we have got one. And there we go. So if you start getting your guesses in, if I start with you, Luke, I'm going to have to jot this down at the minute because I'm doing it all on my own.
Right.
So where do you reckon?
Three.
Number 3. Paul, what are you going for?
He's gone for Sheaf, looking straight at it. I'm going to go 13 then. I'll go 13. I'm saying Bidwell's looking at it.
So hopefully we'll get other people getting their guesses in. Brilliant. Right. Had an interesting week this week because we had the meet and greet at the Sky Blue Tavern. Miles wasn't too great, so I had to step in last minute and do the questions with Ross from Sky Blue Fans Extra, and it was brilliant because the two guests were Callum O'Hare and Jamie Allen, which was quite amazing, really, because it's not. I didn't expect to be interviewing Callum O'Hare on Tuesday when I was at work, and it was a good night. It was a really good night, and the one thing that came out of it for me was just how infectious Callum O'Hare is. And I fully understand what Mark Robbins means when he says, you know, when he's around the place, it's just everything's buzzing and it's somebody we really could do with keeping. Unfortunately, I mean, we didn't really ask any questions about the contract because it wasn't that sort of night, basically. And the only little quip I made was when Callum was talking about how great the training facilities are and at the CBS now with all the fans and that, and I just, when it went a bit quiet, I just went, oh, sort of thing that makes you want to stay, doesn't it? which got quite a big laugh, so that wasn't too bad. I mean tonight really we've got the game coming up against Sheffield Wednesday, and what I want to do is basically talk about where we are as a club at the minute. So what do you think, Luke? How do you think we're doing so far?
I think we're doing a lot better than where we started. There was an interesting stat put online during the week. This time last year, bearing in mind we got to the playoffs and we're sort of better home results, more points. But I still have that doubt in my mind that we might just sit outside of the playoffs this year. Like I say, we've got Saturday coming up, and like Paul said, sucker punch. I think if we can sort of just carry on this form, especially make us formidable at home, I think we're standing a good chance. But I'm just worried about going to the playoffs because we got right to the final But all it takes, as we know, is one of the the semi-finals into it. It takes a bad performance, and that's it. You're out.
I mean, where do you think we need to? I mean, obviously the transfer window is open at the minute. Do you think where do we need to strengthen, basically, if we need to push?
12 weeks ago, I would have said as another forward of the striker, but I think we do need to think about maybe if Callum's going. We've got the new lad, Victor Torp, so I would possibly go for another person, maybe down the left-hand side, strengthen the left-hand side.
Definitely.
Yeah, because on the right you've got Sakamoto and Van Eyck. That seems to be our first choice. And when you watch them, the two of them cause havoc. And it'd be nice to have that down the left-hand side as well, sort of, because teams they're concentrating on them. They work out and it leaves that left-hand side open. Yeah. I think if on both sides, it'd be really hard to deal with.
Yeah.
But you don't much, do you, Luke?
No, I don't.
I think I watched Claudio on a podcast just earlier today. It's the guy with the Everton shirt. I don't know quite what is it, Championship or? And I think
he's an Everton season ticket holder, but he loves the Championship. He's probably getting ready for next season.
Well, yeah, that's true. Another 10-point deduction.
He does a brilliant show actually, where he has 24 fans from each of the teams, and we just preview the game. So it's
well, I think you said on there we've probably got the best right-hand side in the division, and I think we have. What I would say is that when Wright plays on the left, I think when Wright plays on the left, if you can see that, I think that strengthens that, because the physicality and the power. But without Wright there, I think you're absolutely right, Luke. It's we are a bit too defensive on that side. But then I wouldn't criticise Bidwell for. I was a critic of Bidwell, and I think he's actually got better as he's been with us. To be honest, would be my view of that.
I'm just going to add CJ. Good evening, CJ. How you doing, mate?
Good evening. How are we doing?
Not too bad. We're just discussing about reviewing the first half of the season, really, and the position we're in now, and where do you think we need to strengthen if we think we want to push for that top 6 position?
It's a struggle to think, really, isn't it? Where we actually need to improve. Now we've got Torp in. We don't need anybody. I don't know, really. Maybe somebody to fill in at right back, because Van Eyck is just so important to how we play, and it's very rare he's going to get a rest, isn't it? So I know we've got Eccles that can drop in there. We can't recall Burrows now. I think that was about 2 or 3 days ago, the deadline to recall him. So yeah, if we were to have him if he gets injured, then we haven't got a specialist right back, have we, to fill in?
Yeah.
Where Bidwell gets injured or De Silva gets injured, the other one fills in, and so on. And we don't want to be going down the road of putting Sakamoto, in there really again, because he's just so important playing wide, isn't he? But further forward. So yeah, that's something. I mean, I know Latabode has played there. It's probably they've been the poorer sort of performances of his season. The rare ones have been generally when he's been out wide, I would say. But he hasn't played particularly poorly. But when he's not been at his best, it's been when he's been there. So that's probably where I would strengthen first, if anywhere. Now we've got Torp in, but I can't really think of much anywhere else really. I mean, it all depends on who goes. I mean, I didn't hear too much about it. I think I came in, I was in the waiting room after about 5 minutes in, so I don't know whether anybody else mentioned it, but maybe if Godden was to leave, I don't know.
I'm sorry, you've just beat me to that, CJ. Hi.
Yeah.
I was going to be controversial. I don't think Godden is good enough for where we're going, and I know he's been brilliant for us, and look, he's been wonderful. But if we're really looking at the top 6, I think Miles, myself and Miles were having a chat about it. Miles used the word soft, and that physical threat when Sims came on, you could just see the back 4 of Leicester absolutely panic, because there was suddenly pace and a physical presence and the holding up of the ball. And I think Sims and Wright are slow burners. They are getting better. Is whether they get better quick enough. I understand that, but I'm worried that, Wright has got injured, and I think we don't look quite the potent force up front.
I personally think we need a very quick forward down the middle. Matty Godden, but 22 years old, basically, a young Adam Armstrong, because I think against Leicester, although he kind of occupied their defenders, but he wasn't really a threat, pace-wise.
Yeah.
And defenders don't want to mark anybody who's fast. And Sakamoto, he's got that pace. Milan has down that flank. And at the minute, the left side is the weakest. It's interesting because at the players' meeting, we said to Callum and Jamie, is there anybody in the Championship you'd like to see at Coventry? And they ummed and ahed and couldn't think of anybody, which I thought was quite funny. And Ross said, "What about Jack Clark at Sunderland?" And Jamie went, "We've got Haji Wright on the left. We don't need him." I'm thinking, oh well, that's probably high praise, but I still think Jack Clark's a better player on the left-hand side. I mean, we couldn't afford him anyway because he'd be going for 20 million probably.
I do
think we need something more on the left-hand side.
I think if we were to bring, it'd be nice to think, wouldn't it, that we could bring somebody like that in. But as you said, for 20 odd million quid, and then his understudy or the player that will be playing ahead of him cost 8 million or 7.7. It just doesn't work, does it? At our level, even I think it's probably
a bit of money from Chelsea for buying Vic.
Maybe. But we get him back. I think, what we said about Godden, I do think we probably. I mean, to be honest, I was a little bit controversial when we actually got promoted into the Championship. The 3 players I would have actually not necessarily aimed to get rid of, but try to kind of see if we can get an offer for, because they're probably at that time I thought, you know what, you're going to be at the absolute height. You're not going to be worth any more than you are now at any point in the future. Was Godden, McFadzean and Morosi, and I was wrong about 2 of them. McFadzean's actually looked better in the Championship than he did in League One, and Godden's, £750,000, and you look what he's actually done for us really over that time. And at times in the Championship, he's looked better than he did in League One for both us and Peterborough.
It's interesting that you mentioned Fads, because at the meeting, we asked Jamie Allen about Fads when he was with him at Burton. He said he's a much better player now than when he was back then. Yeah. He says he's comfortable on the ball where he never used to be. He said he just a good old hoof defender, basically.
It worries me a little bit.
That must be down to our training, and the coaching staff, because I would say this season we've done pretty well with our signings. I mean, if you think, at the minute, Jay De Silva is, I don't know how good he's going to get. I feel that's the best we're going to get out of him in that position. And he's the only one. I mean, you're hoping Sims is going to come on, and I think there's glimpses, and he's only 22. So I don't know what you guys think, but I reckon we've done pretty well in the with our transfers this season. Apart from maybe Ayari.
I feel that.
The thing is, I know what you think. I know what you think about Ayari, Claudia. Most of the time when I'm not on this, I listen on the recap on podcasts. So I don't really get to see your facial expression when you're talking about him, but I'll try and imagine what that actually is. I do feel for him because he is a talented young lad. I do genuinely think he is going to go reasonably far in the game, and I can see him playing at maybe not Premier League level, but a top flight somewhere. But he will. I do think he will come good. somewhere. But he's clearly got a lot of talent. He's got 2 caps for Sweden already at his age, and he seems to be highly thought of amongst their in their 21s. But the thing is with him is he effectively wasn't really where he's played so far in his career. He hasn't really been a Hamer replacement, so to speak. He should have been brought in as effectively as a Sheaf replacement, even though we still had Sheaf. That's kind of where he played, I think, beforehand. So that was part of the problem. So
CJ, could I just ask you, do you not think that in some ways he reminds me a bit of when we were in League Two and the people like Jacob Murphy and people like that we had very early in their careers, and the creativity, but perhaps the Championship was just the cut and thrust of the top of the Championship was just a bit too early in his career? Because Jacob Murphy obviously has come through at Newcastle and whatever, so it's that sort of, we had quite a number of players, didn't we? Of who was the guy from Tottenham? I was trying to think of. I've got to an age where I can't remember. No, in midfield we had.
Ramirez.
Is that who we had in midfield? I was thinking in League Two. Again, very creative midfield player. Again, a bit lightweight, a bit young, but sort of. I just felt that Ayari, if I can get there, was probably not quite right for because it's a tough league, isn't it? Let's face it.
What I find odd is that he didn't really play, and yet he's gone straight to Blackburn, which is strange. I'm going to read out some comments here. You can bear with me, everybody. This is from We'll Live and Die in These Towns. If we could only win one of the 2 games, if we prefer it to be the weekend with our current position in the table, it's important we keep gaining as many points as possible. That's from We'll Live and Die in These Towns. Obviously, I'd love to, win the league match, and then whatever happens in the cup happens in the cup. It's not often you win 3 games against the same team in the season. So I wouldn't mind the double, and then I'll take a draw for the cup game and bring them back here again. I don't know what you guys think. Yeah. You prefer the points or a cup run?
Points, definitely, for me.
The points.
Well, we've got our guest coming on. I think it's going to be tricky on Saturday. We'll talk about that in a minute. This is from Glenn from Sky Blue Hub. Just look what's happened at Nuneaton Borough today, and that could easily have been us if Doug hadn't come in. Yeah, I look at that, and there's a lot of things going on there. It sounds awful. I was working on the houses that were built on their old ground that they sold to then go to Liberty Way, and they thought everything was going to be fine. So I don't know what's happened there. It does make you. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but it makes you wonder where all the money goes in these deals.
I thought it was I thought it was very interesting, Claudio, what Joe Elliott said on the last, where he talked about the positives of Sisu. I know we see all the negatives, and I thought he just put a different point of view, which was quite interesting. Of if they'd not stepped in, we wouldn't have a football club. And
that's why I asked him, because if you read all my stuff on social media, I've hammered Sisu for years, and I just wanted his take on it, because I thought, he was the chairman at the time, and why did he let them in? And like he said, at the start they were good, and at the end they were good because they let the people in charge do the job. It's the bit in the middle that almost tore the club apart, So, yeah.
Arguably, they recruited some of our best managers recently in recent years. Robbins.
Well, they did at the start, to be honest, but then we all remember Tex the substitute, wasn't it? And all that yeah, exactly. Some of it was ridiculous. I don't think they realised, and I don't think some of the people that came in realised the passion the fans have for a football club, not just ours, any football club.
No,
that's the problem. Look, Hector agreed. We have 6 or 7 really winnable games. That's right. I think.
Yeah.
I looked at the fixtures, and there's no reason why we can't win all 6 coming up. I know it's a bold statement, but that's what we've got to look at now. We've drawn against Southampton, Leeds. We've scored 3 goals at Millwall, Middlesbrough, Sunderland, 3 goals against Leicester. this is a Leicester team that finished strongly, and we basically battered them for the last 15 minutes. I know they're a man down, but we were good all game, I thought.
Well, coming into December, honestly, how many of us thought how many points we'd get looking at those? Because I really feared for it, and I thought, well, if we get a couple of wins, I'll be absolutely delighted. They've outperformed absolutely marvelously. I think.
Well, I know Miles was saying he didn't fancy. He said he was about 5 or 6 points, wasn't it? It was something really low. It was probably less than that.
I think it was 5, wasn't
it? His points tally was blown out the window after about 2 games. I must admit, I didn't expect us to be doing what we're doing. It's tremendous. I'm going to get spot the ball back up again if I can. For those who want to have another guess, make sure I don't put the winning one on. CJ, you had a go?
No, it's the first time I've seen it. I'm just looking. It's that Bidwell bottom right. I'm just looking at him and Palmer are the main. I think Sheaf's actually looking at Bidwell, to be honest with you, not at the ball. I think it's probably maybe 13. Based on. Oh no! Actually, no. I'm just looking. I think that's Dewsbury Hall there. Maybe
I was going to say Dewsbury Hall isn't appealing for something. I can't believe it must have been very quick shutter speed on that.
I think actually, do you know what? I think it's quite close. I think it's be 16.
16. Okay, I'll let you have 16.
Yeah, that looks good actually. That one.
Yeah.
I'll show you some clips from the other night. This is Callum and Jamie on Tuesday night. That looks like Miles's cousin, I think. Looking at that. Here's Victoria. She won the raffle. Signed Jamie Allen's shirts. She looks very happy there. Also, Suki Singh from the Two-Tone Village is supporting the fundraising appeal to raise money for the statue for George and John. So I think they're doing it to the end of February. They're selling items basically and donating it, and they're just hoping they'll get enough so they'll have a name on the plinth as well. So if you go up there, they're selling all sorts of city stuff. There's also, I'll give you a little video clip. It was a really good night. So
could come along tonight and just do a few words on the statue. I'm sure you've all seen about it, but we do need some more support. Why are we doing it? It's an essential part of Coventry City's history. We've got Jimmy Hill's statue, and we needed John and George. John and George played for this club at a very young age. George then carried on with commercial manager, commercial director, managing director. John Sillett, coach, U-team coach, scout, first team manager, you name it, he's done it. And they both sadly passed away as life presidents. They've given a lifetime of service to Coventry City Football Club. We need to honour that. We need, as part of our history, it's not all about the 87 Cup final. It's about the city of Coventry and what that cup run did for the city. It was fantastic. The whole city was behind what was going on. They loved it. It brought the communities together. So we're looking to build a statue for John and George. We're doing very well, but we need your help. This is a supporters thing. Yeah, the football club are involved. Dal's helped us. Lots of people have helped, but this is a supporters thing, and we need to make sure that we've got enough money to pay the final instalments of the statue that's already started, that's going to be done by Douglas Jennings. Brilliant sculptor. So all I ask you to do is, if it's a fiver, if it's a tenner, if you consider doing it as a family, because there's a lot of youngsters in this room, and probably John and George don't mean much to you. However, they will have meant a lot to your mum and dad, to your grandma and grandpa, to your aunts. They were in Coventry when all this was happening. So have a word with them. And if you found that the family could put together 500 quid, you'll get your name on the statue, the Smith family, the Brown family, whatever. So even if it's a fiver or a tenner, let's keep the clock ticking of getting the fund full. So thank you very much for listening. You've got a great evening coming on. Thanks to Dal, he's a great guy. It's great to see the room full to support him. Coventry City, love you to bits. Let's get this statue done. Thank you very much indeed. If I could come along.
That was Joe Elliott with a little speech at the start of the evening. Yeah, it was, I believe, Paul, you're going to have your name on the plinth.
I've got my name on the plinth today. Yes, it was. And Joe sent me a lovely email. Actually, it was very heartfelt, and it was just very nice. It was just very nice. So that's
I can see Vicky in the background. I'll bring her in. Here she is. Good evening.
Hi guys, you all right?
Hi Vicky.
Yeah, good. Thanks.
Hi Vicky.
I thought you might be wearing Jamie Allen's shirt.
No, that wouldn't fit me. It's so small.
It was a good evening, wasn't it?
Fab evening. Yeah, really enjoyed that.
It was. What any highlights from it for you?
I think I always come away from them feeling positive because it's nice to sort of hear about the sort of camaraderie and positive attitude within the sort of camp, I think. And I think O'Hare talking about feeling like the League One season again, that's a positive for me. If they're sort of feeling like we're on a promotion push, that's good.
Yeah, it always seems all those meetings, they've always been positive, haven't they? They've always talked about getting at the table. There's never been talk about survival. And even when somebody mentioned about when we first got into the Championship, Jamie Allen was baffled about how he thought we were ever going to struggle. Didn't he? He sort of said, no. He never even thought about relegation.
Yeah.
So I think they at times, I feel as players, they believe in their ability far more than the fans do. It's which is great, but maybe as I think the fan base are slowly now coming to terms with the fact that we've got a very good squad, a very good management. I mean, the management team is second. He is. I mean, I've said it on that other Championship podcast. We have got the best manager in the EFL, as far as I'm concerned. He's proved it.
Don't you think also, though, there's just something about him being very talented that he's never really done very well elsewhere? Huddersfield, boo, Barnsley, etc. Rotherham, I think he was out as well. But there's just something about the fit of Robbins and the team with the city and the fans. It's just, there's just a cocktail there that's just something special. And I don't know if you could analyze it and whatever, but distill it down. It's, I suppose it's the same as, you drop Callum O'Hare into that group of players and suddenly it's like, this fizz and buzz around the place. It's just, I haven't felt this good about the city since the cup run. I really haven't. And I've been going since 1972. And it was, since I came up the stairs, sky blue stand, came out, the sky was absolutely sky blue, not a cloud in the sky. The greenness of the pitch and the white wall around, that was it. I was smitten. It's just something like that. It's just, and I think now, if you go to the CBS, it's got that as well. There's something about it. I wasn't really following. See, I was too young when we got promoted in the 60s and that. But my dad used to say, there was that same feeling in the city of Jimmy Hill just dropping something in and that group of players. And I suppose we felt it in 87. We felt it again last season, though I never want to go through a playoff final again. I don't think my heart could take it. But there's something very special. It really is.
I think you're right, Paul. I think you're definitely right. It's It's like a magical place to be. I've took my partner there. She's not a Cov fan, but I took her to the Watford game. I said to Claudia earlier, took her to the Watford game earlier on in the season, and she just couldn't believe it. It was the outside atmosphere, which is nice to see now. More and more sort of things gone outside than just inside the ground. It was just this buzz about it, and spoke for it even day, 2 days, 3 days after. And now she's a little bit addicted to coming to the games, going to the away games as well now.
I like it. I like
she
it.
Came to Leeds. She came to Leeds away. I did say when we went to the Leeds away game, I said this away is different, but the atmosphere is still there from us if you kind of get it. And yeah, it didn't fail. Didn't fail to surprise us. So you are right. The CBS at the minute, it just feels good to go there. It's really, you feel it in there. There's like a buzz about it, especially when they come on the pitch. And it's interesting you say about Robbins is that click. I seen someone earlier on social media liken it to a bit like Alex Ferguson with Man United. Came in, struggled a bit, and then something clicked. And then that point on, filled the rest of his career there. So
Mark Robbins' goal, I think it was, wasn't it, against Nottingham Forest?
Yeah, ironically enough, wouldn't it be nice if Robbins did the same, stayed with us until he finally bows out?
Yeah. I'll bring some more comments in. This is one from Glenn, Sky Blue Hub. We tried to bring in a left back, Owen Beck from Liverpool on loan, but it got rebuffed. Interesting.
Yeah, sorry, if I just say that, I was speaking to my friend who's a Liverpool fan. He goes to a lot of the games. That was today in Bromsgrove, and I asked him about that, and he said that the thing is that both left backs at Liverpool are injured, and they're loath to let a left-sided defensive player go, and that was the reason. So he told me. I don't.
And Klopp's not scared to play kids, is he? He
he's
puts
not.
them in, doesn't he? He's a fair play to him. I do like that. He does that. We'll live and die in these towns. Well said, Luke. Defo left winger needed. Diego Santiago on loan from Spurs is my shout. Better give him a call there. Excuse me. We'll live and die in these towns again. We've got Eccles and Latta. You can jump in the right back if needed, which is true. Mark Cunningham loves Luke's flag.
Yeah, it's great.
Yes, Crystal.
Adam Shaw, is Victor Torp ready to come off the bench? I'm not sure he is, I think from what I gather, he's I wouldn't say he's been on the beach. What do you reckon, CJ? He's had 5 weeks of doing nothing, I think, basically. What do you think?
Oh, I mean, he might have been on the beach, but I don't think he would have been sunbathing unless you. It's probably colder. Well, it will almost certainly be colder up there than what it is outside here somehow at the moment. But yeah, I think but he's not been bought in for 2 years' time, but he's not been bought in for to start now, has he? I think he's going to be eased in here and there. I mean, it took a while to get right in the starting lineup, didn't it? And he was 4 times what we paid for the Torp. So, I think it's very much and we're doing all right at the moment without him, aren't we? So
yeah, like I said, he's here for 4.5 years. I've said this already, so you've got plenty of time to come into the team. You can't have everybody playing, can you? That's not how it works.
No. He looks an athlete, though, doesn't he?
Yeah, he looks box to box. If the goals look good that he scored, he's got a shot on him. I think he'll fit in nicely. What do you reckon, Vicky?
Yeah, definitely. I think, like you said, he's here for 4.5 years. It's about building a long-term project now, isn't it? We've had to make do with some loans and things like that to sort of supplement our team in recent years. But now we're really looking at this is a squad of players that could potentially be around for a good few seasons, and we're just building. And it's just about bringing people in that add to that all the time, isn't it? And he looks like somebody that just adds a bit more quality in the midfield again. I think Robin spoke about in his interview about him getting up to speed in the Championship and we're training with them. So I don't imagine he's rushing to get him in. I think you're right. I think it'll be a gradual building. It looks positive. It looks a good signing. And I think the sort of players that we need to just keep an adding to our squad, really.
And what about this, Luke? Mark Cunningham says Tavares could cause havoc down the left. Do you think he should keep him, let him go out on loan? What do you think?
It's a good point, actually. Yeah, he probably could go down the left like that. But he's just not getting the gameplay with us at the minute. Myself, I'd probably let him go out on loan. You know, he's part, like Vicky said, we've got a long-term plan. He's not a loanee. Let's send him out on loan for a bit, bring him back. You know, he's part of the bigger picture. But Mark's absolutely right. Yeah, if we're going to use him down there. But say at the minute he's not going to get that sort of opportunity. So I'd let him go for a loan. Let him go and sort of get some regular match time.
Totally agree, Luke. He's quick, but a bit raw, isn't he?
Yeah,
but he's definitely got it. You can see. I mean, that goal at Preston. I don't think I've shouted so much since. Well, the Leicester goal probably. The Leicester goal was probably. But yeah, I mean, that's not by chance, is it? I mean, that's talent. That really was. It just a little dip of the shoulder and just create a little bit of space, and it was just a thing of beauty, like Callum's goal. But I just talking about before the Wednesday fan comes on, I've done a little bit of sorry, this sounds like I'm Jimmy Hill on Match of the Day, but I watched the game against Southampton, and Wednesday conceded all 4 goals from the right hand side, their left, Sakamoto and Milan. And so that's just a little, I know we're feeling a bit nervous, but I just did a little bit of research in my notes, so just throw that one in. The all 4 goals. I mean, Adam Armstrong looked absolutely fantastic. I'm
hoping he's going to come on. I was only chatting to him last night, so he said he was coming on. So here he is. I can see him in the background. So we're going to go to the adverts, and we're going to bring Andrew on. He's waving at me now. So we'll do the adverts, and we'll bring him in.
Great.
Sky Blue Fans TV, for the fans, by the fans.
There.
I
brought in the album.
I was getting worried, Andrew. I thought you were doing your hair or something, mate.
No, don't worry about that. My makeup artist has gone now. She's left.
Oh, has she? Good evening to you, mate. How are you doing?
We're okay. We're getting there. Not bad. Still recovering from having lost to you last time. I don't want to lose to you again.
Well, before we start, what we do is we do a spot the ball. So this is from our Leicester game. Where's the ball?
In the back of the net.
Which number are you going for?
Which one would I go for?
Yeah.
I'd say number 16.
Number 16. Right then. Well, we only just recently played you on Boxing Day, which was a nice little win for us. We'll come to that in a minute.
Yeah.
But I want to really talk about your club in general. So, Chansiri, what sort of an owner is he? Because he must divide the fan base.
Turn the clock back. It's pot luck. It really is pot luck, Claudio. Turn the clock back. If we had a choice of the Thailand chairman to back us, would we have taken Leicester's chairman or Chansiri? I would have taken Leicester's chairman, obviously, because he put the investment in wisely to them, and thanks to him, they ended up being champions of England for the first time in their history. If we'd have had him, we'd have been champions of England. Simple as that. It's all about having the right backing, using the money wisely, and being successful. It's all very well saying you've got the funds, but it's got to be used wisely. Simple as that.
So, I mean, obviously the sacking of Darren Moore was a bit of a shock for most of the championship after, getting promotion. I mean, what was that for your fan base? You must have been annoyed with that.
I personally wasn't. It was a bit of an unknown situation. I think at one stage our fans were getting a bit upset that we weren't getting automatic promotion. They really expected us to get automatic promotion last season. So then they started getting very nervous. And don't forget, at one stage, we weren't even going to be in the playoff final. We lost that game at Peterborough 4-0. Everybody wrote us off, said it's all over. an amazing comeback to do what we did at Hillsborough for that return leg to score 5 goals. Absolutely amazing. So, we scraped through and then we beat Barnsley fair and square, obviously, in the playoff final. I was there for that. A happy day. But no, Chansiri, it's been very edgy with him. That they haven't been over happy with his attitude, his way. I know the funds were there at one stage and they weren't there. I think he's still upset that they didn't get back to the promised land in 2016 when I was at Wembley. We lost to Hull. That was a great chance to finally get back to where we should be. And that went. And then the following year it went as well with Huddersfield losing on penalties. So twice so close to being back to where we should be. And then the fans, shows you how fickle some of them can be. A lot of them, the Blue Boys, put the boot into Carlos Carvajal, which they never should have done. He was the best manager we've had there this century. And we had injuries the following season, and they just were unforgiving. And sadly, they sort of pushed him out. And I said, be careful what you wish for. The grass is not always green on the other side. And we had a guy turn up called Jos Luque, the worst manager in history at Wednesday. Until this season's manager, Panic at the Cisco. We'll come to him in a second. But Jos Luque, nightmare. And then we started going in one direction. So all these Boo Boys who wanted Carlos gone regretted their attitude, their actions. And so we had to start square one again. So with Darren Moore, to finish up the story there was obviously issues. He wanted to do certain things when he got promotion, and he went to see Chansiri. Chansiri wasn't prepared to perhaps spend the sort of money that Darren Moore was looking for, or give him the sort of maybe the pay increase he might be looking for. Who knows? We don't know the ins and outs of the whole story, but there's no one man bigger than the club. And at the end of the day, if there were differences, the parting of the ways happened, so be it. And we have to get somebody in. The only sad thing about it is I think we didn't get this Danny Roll in at the start from the word go. Because if he was there from the word go, we'd now be in a challenging position at the top of the table, not trying to escape from the bottom of the table. Because he's a totally different fish.
It must be painful, though, when you can see Sheffield United doing so.
Tell me about it. Don't mention that.
Claudio.
They're a superior club. They always have been and they always will be. They can dream on that they are in the Premier League now. Trust me, we were playing them next season. They're going straight back down and we will get there. Because at the end of the day, Wednesday are respected as the biggest club. Everyone knows that. Hillsborough is famous for football. We were used in the World Cup 1966, the Euros 1996. Bramall Lane is world famous for cricket. That's the difference between our two clubs, two grounds, that is. And our clubs, we've obviously been champions of England 4 times. They were only champions of England once, and that was in the 19th century, before television, before electricity even.
See what you did, Claudio.
I know.
Sato, I can tell you everything. Don't worry about that. I've done my homework. I had to sort out what's his name, Neil Warnock, once on BBC Radio, Radio 5 Live. I've often been on the 606 phone. If you ever listen to that program, if you ever hear Andrew from Greenford, that's me talking about Wednesday. And I remember Neil Warnock was crowing when Sheffield United were in the top division. We were a division below them, and he was saying, let's face it, we've always been Sheffield's biggest club. And I was on there like the ball to me. And I was on there, gave him all the facts and figures about our clubs, and then he was silent. Simple as that.
And this is where I'm a bit cautious about Saturday.
Yeah.
Because since Danny Roll has taken over as manager, you've got a 41% win rate.
Yeah.
Which I don't think people realise how many games you've made up a deficit of 12, 15 points, I think.
Yeah, you have to allow him the first 3 games. Forget those. He wasn't ready. I think since then it's over 50% win rate. He's been
although you're in the bottom 3, you must be quite confident you'll get out of the bottom 3.
Well, the guy's a genius, and obviously he'll get a nickname Harry Houdini if he does it. It's not a gimme. We've got to make it count, and it wouldn't be too despondent if we didn't win Saturday, but obviously we preferably prefer to win to go into the Huddersfield match with a win behind our belts. We definitely don't want to lose, that's for sure, because we've got Huddersfield away next. The plan is obviously to try and get a win against you. I know it won't be easy. You're in frightening form at the moment, and you're also a bit of a bogey club for us. I was checking the records earlier on. I was getting a bit annoyed. Nothing's changed. Would you believe it? You actually beat us 100 years ago on Boxing Day as well. On Christmas Day. It wasn't Boxing Day. Christmas Day, 1923, the year both my parents are born, you beat us 5-1 at Coventry, and we played you Boxing Day the very next day, and we beat you 2-0 at Hillsborough. That was quite nice. Different world back then, long before I was born, but it's just a history fact for you all there.
I'll tell you what, I'm glad I didn't put that in. I've got a quiz coming up. I'm glad I didn't put that in the quiz. You're going to ruin my quiz in a minute, Andrew. You have to shut up a minute.
Andrew, has your goalkeeper ever scored against us?
That's in the quiz as well.
I don't want to hear about him. At the end of the day,
I was there.
The fastest sending off of all time, Kevin Pressman. It was sent off in the year 2000. So we beat you to that one. Nightmare. I don't want to hear that. Also, what I don't want to hear, and I was checking the record books as well, just to confirm my depression is that you have beaten us every time we've ever played you in the FA Cup before. Nightmare. Absolute nightmare.
He's going to walk my quiz.
No, I'm not.
There isn't one now.
It's cancelled.
One question.
Have a discussion instead and be done with it.
Right. Before I get to the quiz, okay. What are you expecting in the January window? Are you expecting any movement?
Well, we've already got a couple of guys who've come in. We've got a reserve goalkeeper who's come in, Beadle. Watch out, Jeremy Beadle's about. Who knows? He's come in. Obviously, I don't want him to replace Matt Dawson. Sorry, Dawson's been doing, Cameron Dawson rather, been doing so well in goal for us recently. You know, amazing. He made those 2 penalty saves within 3 minutes of each other against Cardiff in the Cup. Some of our fans knock him. They say he doesn't come out often enough. He say he's rooted to his line and the rest of it. But no, he's been a decent goalkeeper for us, and he's held his place. He's kept the Spanish guy Vasquez out since only Danny Roll took over as well. We've got this guy called Ukbo who scored 4 goals in 22 matches for Cardiff. That's not exactly the most exciting strike rate, but he's come in as a striker. We need a goal scorer urgently. What I was hoping for was Jamie Vardy. He's a Wednesday fanatic himself, and I'd love to poach him out of Leicester, but can we afford his wages? Well, Chancery's got the money there somewhere. I'd love to see Jamie Vardy at Hillsborough. It'd be great. Could do for us what Terry Curran did for us back in the 80s. He was a lifelong Wednesday fan, and he dropped down a division even to play for us. So why not? But yeah, Ukbo will hold the record out on him for the time being.
Got a question here for you, Andrew.
Yeah.
From, Andrew, what's parking like around the ground? Do we need
plenty of time? I would say yes. You would, but it depends though. See, because with Wednesday, turn the clock back, 14th of March 1987. I bet you never parked anywhere near the ground that day. 48,000 total nut house. This coming Saturday, or Saturday week even, or Friday night, isn't it? Friday night week. Depends who turns up. It depends on what happens this coming Saturday. I think if Wednesday wins on Saturday, we'll get a bigger crowd against Coventry, and you're for the FA Cup, and you may find it difficult. I'd suggest you get there very early to try and.
Well, we've got 4,000. We've got 4,000.
Yeah, exactly.
And we've got 4,000
further afield, further towards the city centre a bit more.
We sold out our cup allocation within hours. Yeah. We've got 4,000 for the Friday night as well.
Very good. It's very good for your club. Well done.
Andrew, is there something about the stand or 2 stands being closed?
Well, that's what's happened. That's what happened the last round against Cardiff. But then again, they only brought a couple of hundred there of 4,000. They didn't seem to want to turn up for the match for some reason, which is probably just as well given the scoreline. But no, I think the plan is they just don't think people are turning up, which is ludicrous. We should price the game down and get the fans through the gates. And and have the whole stadium open. It's ludicrous. It can hold 40,000. Why play to a quarter full stadium, but you can play to a packed stadium and just charge people less and get them in to watch the game? It's just ludicrous.
When I was there in the quarterfinal, sorry to go back, God, I feel like during the war. When Megson scored, it's probably
you have to watch what you say here because I've got a quiz coming up.
Oh, sorry.
I don't want to hear this.
It's the loudest roar, and I turned to my mate and I just said, "We're gonna get hammered now." But Wednesday's like an old-fashioned ground, isn't it? And when that roar goes up, it's just incredible.
There's no doubt about. I'm not being biased. Seriously, the 3 noisiest clubs in the country for noise are Wednesday, Newcastle, and Sunderland. I've been all over the place. I've been to every ground in the country. You can imagine every ground that matters, including Highfield Road, of course, including your ground before. And at the end of the day, no, you can't beat the noise you've heard. And I'm sure if you must have heard it that day yourself. You were there on the 14th of March, 87. Our fans going ballistic until we started losing, of course.
Yeah.
Well, you'd not lost for 18 games, I think, up until then in the cup at home.
Yeah.
But you did that day. Anyway, right.
Sorry, Claudia, I'll shut up. I'm ruining the quiz.
So this is the first question, Andrew. If you can let our members have a go first. So the first question is: Sheffield Wednesday have won the top flight on 4 occasions. When was the last time?
Well, we were champions the last time, sadly.
Wait. Okay. Yet. We're going to
the others. Right.
Vicky, what do you reckon?
That was before my time. I don't
definitely.
remember. Yeah, definitely. So what? 50s?
No. Luke?
50s.
Luke?
Okay. I'll tell you afterwards when it should have been as well. I'll tell you that. It's another story. Carry on.
I'd say early 80s.
No. CJ?
I was going to go sort of like late 40s, maybe.
No. Paul?
I'm just going to go 1964.
No.
Right.
Oh, right. I didn't know.
Put them out of their misery.
Sorry.
Right,
Go
let
on,
me
then.
put you out of misery. First of all, let me tell you when it should have happened. The last time when it should have happened was 1960-61 when Spurs were champions, and only
Yeah.
Wednesday, typically, they were my Subbuteo team then. I was playing, I was only 5, 6 years of age. My older brother, 8 years old, was a Nottingham Forest lifelong fan. Sheffield Wednesday, I just love the name, that was my team. 61, Wednesday only win one of our last 7 league matches that season and hand the title to Spurs. That's the last time Spurs were champions of England, 60-61, and we blew it, gave it to them. The last time Wednesday were champions of England, sadly, was the year that my grammar school was built. So I'm going to burn it down to get it rebuilt again. So we'd be champions again one of these days. And that was the 1929-30 season.
Correct.
Fantastic.
That long ago.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that's when they were massive.
But at least it was last century. Sheffield United, the only time they've ever been champions, was the 19th century.
Fantastic.
Okay, now let our guys answer first. Andrew, I have to rein you in here. Who is Wednesday's most capped English player? Ooh. Anybody want to have a guess?
Well, as in for Sheffield Wednesday or for England?
Well,
Do you mean for the
English
club?
player.
Wednesday
Who
player.
played for England the most times?
Yeah.
Which Wednesday player played for England the most times?
Got to be Des Walker, isn't it?
Next guess.
No, I've no
I
idea.
have a clue, like what
He
era?
was at Forest as well, wasn't he? This is purely Wednesday.
Oh, right.
Oh, so he only. Oh,
Yeah. Wednesday's most capped English
Yeah,
player.
when playing for Wednesday.
He was replaced by somebody really famous.
Any guesses?
Anybody? Any guesses?
Is it a goalkeeper then?
Oh, it is a goalkeeper.
I can't give you a name, but that just
was it Flowers?
Closer than me.
No, it couldn't have been Flowers. No.
Go on, Andrew. Put him out of the misery.
Put out of misery. A famous goalkeeper indeed. I actually met him, and his brother also played for Sheffield Wednesday afterwards. It was Ron Springett, who was actually capped for England 33 times. Only 33. Nothing great about that. It was 33 times really. But the reason being, it would have been a lot more, but for a certain guy called Gordon Banks who turned up. And Gordon Banks replaced Ron Springett, and that's why Ron didn't make it. Well, he was in the squad for the 1966 World Cup final, but he never played. Of course, Gordon Banks kept his position the whole tournament.
So, question 3. Which manager took Sheffield Wednesday out of the 3rd division in 1980? Another famous player. Ooh. Cogs are turning. I'll give a clue. Shall I give a clue, Andrew?
Well,
I think we're going to need to.
I'll give him a clue. Let me give him one clue. That's what I'll say. The guy in question had a famous brother as well.
Oh, Charlton.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which Charlton?
Jackie Charlton.
Yeah. My clue wasn't going to be that easy.
Jack Charlton was our man. And he actually bought me a drink because I was player manager of the London Owls in those days. So he bought me a drink when I in the directors' lounge at Directors' Bar rather at Hillsborough. So good man, Jack. He loved his fishing as well.
Yes.
So, which player holds the record for the fastest sending off in British football?
Vinnie Jones.
You should have been listening to what he was saying earlier.
Yeah.
Is it somebody related to the flag behind you, Claudio?
No.
Oh well,
did you say Bracewell?
You can kind of get my thinking there with who it would be, but yeah.
Paul Bracewell? No, not Bracewell.
No.
Tell him, Andrew.
Goalkeeper in the year 2000, Kevin Pressman, 13 seconds. Off he went. Nightmare. Handled a shot from a Wolverhampton Wanderers forward. Yes. Absolute nightmare. And our last season in the Premier League, sadly, we were relegated 99-2000, and the whole of this century has been a write-off for Sheffield Wednesday, sadly. We hope to see him back.
We kind of know how you feel about that, Andrew.
Oh.
So question 5, in the 86-87 season, direct from a massive punt up the pitch.
Sorry.
Who was the Wednesday
Claudio, I was going to tell you actually, you thought you beat us all 3 times that season. You didn't. You beat us twice. The other game was a draw.
Yeah.
It was a draw. 2-2.
So who was the Wednesday keeper that Oggy scored against?
Wednesday keeper that Oggy scored against?
Yeah.
I've got a feeling it might have been Martin Hodge.
It was Martin Hodge.
Thank you.
Right. And this is an interesting one, this question, before we give the answer, because am I right in saying that the 2 Sheffield clubs were annoyed because they didn't want to play at this stadium and they wanted to play at Wembley because of the ticketing?
Oh, of course, because we're going to fill it. We wouldn't get the whole crowd into. They were talking about Elland Road and they were talking about Old Trafford. And Wednesday said no chance. I said why? And we got just as big a crowd at Wembley as Arsenal and Spurs did. And Arsenal and Spurs were in North London, right near Wembley, of course, both of them. And just as many fans turned up for Wednesday v Sheffield at the same venue because we've got just as big a following as them. You know, Wednesday have always had a massive following, as you all know, obviously. But as those of you who were there, 48,000 for that quarter-final match gives you an idea of what we're all about.
Well, that's right. They were going to try and cram you into Elland Road. That was the.
They spoke about Elland Road and Old Trafford. And Wednesday we were arguing, and so did Sheffield. They both said no, we go to Wembley as well, thank you. And we did. And of course, we won 2-1, and we were very happy bunnies off to Wembley, and then gutted to lose that final to Arsenal, a replay in the 122nd minute to a corner that never was. A corner that was given when our fans were going ballistic behind the goal, and the guy crossed it, and Andy Linnigan scored the only goal he ever scored in his history to head them a winning goal, 2-1. We were absolutely distraught.
This is quite interesting. That we've beaten you 33 times to your 29 with 23 draws. That surprised me actually. But of course, if anyone wants to Hillsborough since 1999, and that was in 2008. So
interesting. So things maybe have improved more recently for us because our record against you before that was quite atrocious.
Well, it was because you kind of disappeared at one stage, didn't you? In the mid 80s.
We had
70s, I should say.
Well, we had a bad run from 70 when we went down. 74-75 was probably the worst season ever for us. We went down from the old second division, as it were, to the third division for the first time in our history, which was very embarrassing for our club to be down there. And then we've been there 3 times since. It's a nightmare. Absolutely. It's just silly. It was summed up by the Crew Alexandra manager the other year. We talked about Wednesday and Sunderland. We were both in the 3rd tier. And it said Sheffield Wednesday and Sunderland are the Real Madrid and Barcelona of League One. And that summed it up. That's who we are, because that's fan base are both massive. The history of both clubs are both massive, and it was just embarrassing having us both down there. And on one occasion, I actually had to go at Robbie Savage. I met him face to face at Wimbledon Greyhound Tracks. I phoned up 606. It was a season that Wednesday and Sheffield United were actually both a division below Barnsley and Doncaster, would you believe? And I got on there and I said, Wednesday and Sheffield United being a division below Barnsley and Doncaster is as embarrassing as Arsenal and Spurs being a division below the likes of Brentford and Leyton Orient. And Robbie Savage said, no, I'm not having that. You're being disrespectful to Barnsley and Doncaster. I said, what? What? Because, we are massive. They're small minnows. I'm sorry, but please don't insult my intelligence. And when I met him at the racetrack, I went up to Wimbledon Greyhound Track and he said, it's you. I said, don't you ever dare tell me that those clubs are bigger, just as big as Wednesday and Sheffield United in future, please.
The problem is that with a lot of footballers, they haven't got a clue really, apart from the team they're playing for at the time.
Yeah, that's a fair comment. Yeah,
and a lot of them are like that. They just don't. I'm sure some of them don't understand it at all, to be honest.
Yeah.
Talking about Hillsborough, and now we're taking 4,000, and the reason being we can't take 5,000 is because Newcastle went there, and apparently there was problems in that end again with overcrowding and all the rest of it. After what's happened in the past at Leppings Lane, do you think maybe they just knock it down and build a new stand or something?
That's what we've been talking about doing. At one stage, they were going to do that, especially when they thought England were going to put in for the World Cup bid. They were trying to get the Hillsborough Stadium back to the 50,000 plus, which we had before. Don't think I've been in 50,000 crowds there before, yeah. As you know, the 48,000 yourselves when we played you in that 87 match. But 89, the whole thing was a farce. I've got, I published poet. I've got 2 books out there raising money for charities, by the way. Give that a plug while I'm speaking to you.
What they're called? What the books, Andrew?
They're called Got them here. 1 second, just get them.
Oh, he's got them there. Oh, he's ready for it.
His marketing department.
Why am I surprised? I shouldn't have been surprised.
Right, you can't miss it because obviously on the front of the books, I'm wearing my Sheffield Wednesday shirt. The first one, which came out 7 years ago, is called 100 Poems to Make You TLC. There I'm wearing the Wednesday shirt. Stands for Think, Laugh and Cry. And that's raising money for diabetes and cancer research charities. They're on Amazon. Foils and Waterstones. The reason I chose diabetes is my younger daughter had type 1 diabetes. She's only 23 months old, so she had to have 3 insulin injections every day. It's been a nightmare, but it's raised funds for them. So it's been out for 7 years now this year. And the first poem in this book actually was about Her Majesty the Queen. And there's a thank you letter from Buckingham Palace in here. She actually had a copy of the book herself, would you believe? So that's in there as well. Buckingham Palace, you'll probably see that there. So that's that one. And the second book, which came out more recently, just 2 years ago, 300 Poems to Make You TLC, again in a Wednesday shirt next to my Battersea rescue dog there, Branston. And this is raising money for diabetes and dementia charities. And obviously I've got some poems about Wednesday in the books. So there are some Wednesday. And also one in there, which is called Hillsborough 96. And that talks about the Hillsborough crisis. That happened obviously with what happened at the Liverpool-Nottingham Forest situation. And that could all have been avoided. It was purely geographical reasons that they gave Liverpool the Leppings Lane end. They've given Liverpool the home end, which obviously houses 20,000 more fans than Leppings Lane end. That incident would never have happened. It would never have happened. There was enough space there to get them in. Even those who did jump in over the turnstiles without tickets, they weren't blameless Liverpool fans. A lot of them arrived there without tickets, tried to get in, and a lot of them were drunk trying to get in. So they weren't blameless totally. You know, the truth be known, and a lot of my Wednesday friends who live up that way confirmed what was going on. They weren't blind, and all that they would have been avoided if they'd given them the home end and put Forest, who didn't fill the Wednesday end. Obviously they're quite full, but not full, totally full. But they've put them up the other end. That's all they had to do. Prevention is better than a cure. Yeah.
So now, because obviously we're bringing 4,000 fans, and we could get 5,000 in there. Is that?
Oh, they'll fit in comfortably. You'll fit in there.
Yeah. Is that just because the police don't want to have more than 4,000?
Yeah, I think they don't. I think they're a bit. They're afraid of any repercussions, further problems of anything happening. Not that Coventry would do what Liverpool were doing, but yeah, I don't think they want to put anything that is a possible any danger levels into the equation. That they'd rather just make sure they've got everyone housed in their floor, and that will do, because the sides of the Leppings Lane are kept closed. They don't open that side bit at all. It's only behind the goal that you're going to be. So you're going to be behind the goal or up, in the upper tier behind the goal. That will be it. And Wednesday fans, if they don't open the East Bank, or the Cop as we call it, will be on the north to the side, both sides, the north and the south stand, and that'll be that. So maybe we might get a crowd of 15,000, 16,000 if they decide to turn up on the day and they want to go for it. And if they reduce the price, you could easily get 25,000, 30,000 there quite easily. But especially as you're bringing as many as you're bringing. But I don't know. We'll see.
So,
I mean, to be fair, we talk about, I appreciate it. It's not a great look, is it? Like closing that stand, but we've got to remember it's a big stadium. And what you're expecting there, 16,000, 17,000, whatever you just said, is pretty much what we got for Oxford. Really, we got 18,000, and then how many of them was there? There was what?
That's
three
good.
and a
very
half.
good view.
So
it's good for you on the ratios. What you get. It's good for you on the ratios. What you get, whereas we have been getting sort of crowds near 30,000 for our league matches, but they don't seem to be on to show up the FA Cup for some reason.
You compare though what we got for Oxford, it's not too much different to that though, really. So,
we only got 11,000 against Cardiff, which is low. Yeah, really.
I don't think you guys should be kind of bashed for not turning up when really you are. That's a walk. That's a good walk-up attendance, really, isn't it? That's how I'd say it anyway.
I hope we turn up on Saturday week, but it depends what happens this coming Saturday. Trust me, if you batter us on Saturday, then people probably might be a bit distressed and not want to turn up. But we've got to make sure we avoid that.
So who do we need to turn up? Sorry, who do we need to look? Who do we need to look for on Saturday? Who are your danger men? Who's gonna maybe get a shot on target?
Our goal scorer, our main goal scorers, haven't been playing late. That's the problem. They've been injured. So Josh Windash, who scored the winning goal in the playoff final, he scored against Newcastle last year. We beat Newcastle, remember, in the cup last season at home. He's capable of scoring some cracking goals, but he needs to be playing more regularly. He's been injured. Also, Mike Smith has scored some goals, decent goals earlier on the season, but he's also been injured, not been playing. So they relied on this youngster who's come in, a guy called Danny Cadamarteri. He did score 1 or 2, but not often enough. He's still going to get more sort of games under his belt and more experience there. Otherwise, relying on the likes of Barry Bannon and this Marvin Johnson guy who's got a couple from midfield recently, but not prolific enough. You scored 3 goals in away matches. Like it's going out of fashion recently, and we've been able to score minutes out at home.
I think you're the lowest goal scorers in the league, aren't you?
Rotherham have got less than us.
Here.
Rotherham have got less than us.
That's not what they said. Mike,
Really?
you'd be anti-Rotherham anyway. So I lived in Yorkshire for about 30 years, so I know. And Sheffield Rotherham Barnsley was my patch, so I know it's how passionate the area is. It's brilliant. That's brilliant. So it's.
So who do you think out of our lot could be a danger?
Well, you've been scoring for fun, haven't you? You scored. You won 3-0 at Sunderland, wasn't it? And you also, you haven't got a set leading goal scorer this season, have you? I think different players have been scoring for Coventry, haven't they?
Yeah, it's in fact, like on Saturday, it was all it's midfielders and defenders have been scoring.
It's been spread around.
Yeah, it's definitely been spread around, which is what we've wanted for a while. I think every club can get hung up on strikers who don't score loads of goals, but does it matter who scores as long as the team scores? That's
exactly it. But we having to rely on our main strikers because no one else is scoring. That's the trouble. I can't think of any defenders who've scored for us this season. I'm trying to think of the last time. Maybe Liam Palmer got one. That's about it. I can't think of anyone else who's got anything for us.
On February, I'm going to put this in now because this guy played for Sheffield Wednesday. On February the 4th, we've got a ex-Coventry player coming on the show, and I'll just play these goals, and I think you'll know who it is, Andrew.
Devonshire enjoyed that little run until he was felled by 2 men. Blair through the middle for Thompson, and Thompson's got one back for Coventry, and he feels a lot better about life now. No time to pass back. Gillespie, Hunt, one last desperate fling from Coventry. Touch for Thompson. Yes, he's done it. Well, it's a dream come true for Gary Thompson. 3 goals he scored tonight. 1 for West Ham, 2 for Coventry.
What a match.
Yeah, so you won it, obviously. He was a prolific goal scorer. He scored goals for us, but a guy who scored more goals for us, who I'm sure also played for you from memory. I'm trying to remember. This was Brian Joyce. He played for Coventry as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was a prolific goal scorer for us in the early 70s. He was scoring like it was going out of fashion. And I'd say he scored more goals for us than Gary Thompson ever did.
Yeah, we've had between the 2 clubs, we've had Wilf Smith, Gary Bannister.
Dave Clements. Didn't Dave Clements play for Coventry as well?
Yeah, that's right.
Yep, Northern Ireland International. There we go.
He was in the Jimmy Hill years. So we've had, in terms of the players who've played for each club, we've had quite a few.
Jim Holton played for both, didn't he?
Yeah, some good players. It's not like the Mickey Mouse players, actually proper players. Between the 2 clubs.
That's right.
So what do you think then? Saturday, we'll talk. We'll have you back on, I think, next Thursday for the cup game, if you're all right, and we haven't.
Oh yeah, as long as there's nothing, as long as it's not the Alamo this Saturday.
Yeah.
I'd be very brave to show my face if we get a stuffing on this Saturday. But I don't care. I'll go wherever anyone. I have Greek Spartan origins, and we our motto is never say die. So we turn up anywhere. Don't worry about that.
And of course, I'm Roman, and came we saw we conquered. Anyway,
yeah.
So what do you think then, Andrew? What do you reckon?
What, the game on Saturday?
Yeah.
Well, right. I gave the prediction, didn't I, when we had the chat with Mike Simpson. I've got to go for a 1-0 win for us. I'm hoping with the only way we're going to beat Coventry Saturday is we have to score an early goal. Because I've got a feeling if Coventry score and we don't, the confidence will drop and Coventry, the tails will be up. We've had a good track record recently, and it'll be your game to lose if you score before we do. But if we get a goal early on, if someone like Windass or Cadamarteri, any of them can snatch a goal somewhere in the first 10-15 minutes, we take a 1-0 lead, we can then try and hang on to that.
Vicky, what do you think?
I didn't actually realise that Sheffield Wednesday had so much trouble scoring goals this season. I knew that they'd obviously had some difficulties early on, not generally, but because I've just checked, Paul, you were right. They are the lowest goal scorers in the league.
21.
Actually, one of them aren't even the worst after that. It's QPR.
Yeah.
So,
But how many goals are you saying we've scored? 21?
21 league goals, QPR 22, Rotherham
Right.
24.
Out of those 21, how many of those goals have been scored since Danny Roll has been manager? You'll find the vast majority of them.
I can't do that quickly.
Come on, Vicky, do your research.
I'll do that for next Thursday. I'll be back next Thursday with all the facts.
Right.
That should have been part of the quiz, Claudio.
Yeah.
No, I got them all right. No going back now.
We're quite solid defensively and on good form. I can't see much past a 2-0 win for us, really, to be honest.
No, don't say that.
Luke, what do you think, mate?
Yeah, I agree with Vicky. The defence, I think, will hold it up for us. Although I don't think anymore we're frightened of going 1-0 down. Last couple of weeks, we've proved we can do it. I think it's gonna be 3-0. I think it's gonna be 3-0. I think it's just confidence is high.
Well, as we have Barnsley's defence down the spine, I think it's going to be 3-0. And I think it's all going to come down the right-hand side, as I said.
Do you think
Tats will run riot?
Thomas, Kitchen and Collins will be seeking revenge for the what happened at Wembley? Is that what you're thinking?
Exactly. The South Yorkshire connection there. I think they'll be right up for it. And let's face it, they've been playing wonderfully. I think that tight unit has. I did wonder when we got all three, but again, I think. The management team have proved it, haven't they? From nowhere, we've got. I mean, Bobby Thomas, I think, is just absolutely fantastic. And but Binks, I thought Binks did well coming in as well. I thought Binks did well, but I think actually that understanding of the middle three, as you said, when we've gone from to four at the back, we just seem so much more solid, and everybody seems to know their job.
Oh, it's a lot better now.
Yeah.
CJ, what do you think?
Same as Vicky, 2-0.
2-0. We got a 2-1 from Covandi. Mark Cunningham 3-0 City. Oh dear. Stephen McGovern 3-1 Cov. Oh. We live and die in these times. I'm feeling confident of a high-scoring Cov win this Saturday, 4-0 to City.
It's going to be classic.
Radio's predicted 2-2. At least he had the decency to predict a 2-2 draw there, so he's given us something. I'll tell you what, you lot have given us nothing. You're in for a big surprise.
I predicted a 2-2 draw purely because it very rarely. Well, I did say. Between the two games, a draw and a win, and I'm kind of thinking we draw Saturday, and we win the cup game because I think Sheffield will put out a much weaker team out for the cup match. But I'm just thinking after Lord Mayor's show, it's just the way my head works. It's going to be a tough old game, and I'm going for a 2-2 draw. I think it'll be entertaining, and so I'm saying 2-2, but we are good at the minute.
I admire your enthusiasm there, Claudio, but I've got a feeling it's going to be a win ugly 1-0. Wednesday's going to want to win at all costs. I don't care how we do it. Just hang on there.
Yeah, I kind of get the feeling, Andy or Andrew, it's for the first 15 minutes, it's going to be a bit like the Alamo because I think you're going to come at us.
Well, exactly.
But we are a very fit side.
And that worked in our recent wins against Hull City, against QPR. That's worked in our recent wins. So that's exactly how we got to play it. We've got to do exactly the same as we did against them and against Leicester. We could have been 3-0 against Leicester in the first 10 minutes quite easily and ended up being 1-0 behind them. And then we equalised to get a draw in a game we should have buried them. I know you beat them last week. But we were just as good against them as you were, I can assure you. Different kettle of fish. Forget the panic at the Cisco nonsense. Your score predictions would be valid if he was still manager. Of that, there's no doubt. We've got a new guy there now, Sunshines. Danny Roll. Remember that name?
Absolutely.
Brian Clough in his heyday.
Watching what's strange about this fixture is we could have been, because of the playoff and all that, we could have been Premier League, and had you not been, you won your final, you could have been 2 divisions below us, and here we are in the same division now. Obviously we went out cruelly to penalties. What was it like for you though? Because were you thinking, oh no, it's going to penalties, they're going to do us with 10 players, or did you? Yeah, what was it like that last 5 minutes?
What, against Barnsley?
Yeah.
Well, we were hoping obviously we were going to find a goal from somewhere. We had to make that extra man advantages count, but it doesn't always work that way. There's no guarantee. You still got to get the ball in the back of the net. But we were probing, and eventually, it came good for us. It was just a relief to finally do it, and deserved. It was embarrassing. It's embarrassing that Wednesday even playing Barnsley in a third-tier playoff final match. It's just embarrassing that we've actually been down as low as that. Don't disrespect. Historically, let's not kid ourselves here. I know some respect.
Try losing to Morecambe.
Sorry?
Try losing to Morecambe. We've been in the Premier League and try losing to
fair enough. But what I'm saying is, historically, and if you look at the records, if you check the all-time Football League table, Wednesday are still 15th place as the 15th highest point-scoring team in the top division in the history of the game, which is astonishing when you think we've not added a single point to our tally since the year 2000. The last 24 years, we've got 0. We are still 15th. Whereas Coventry, so we are respected as being one of the top 20 clubs in the country, without a shadow of doubt, historically. Whereas Coventry, you'd put them in the 2nd tier. Historically, they would be treated as a 2nd division club.
Yeah, we're about 25th, 26th in the table.
Yeah, you'd be near the top of that division, but you'd be in that.
There's no denying the history of.
History doesn't win matches. History doesn't win, I understand that.
No, and I feel, we've been in League Two. You've not done it before, have you?
Never been to the 4.
You were close.
United have.
Not had that pleasure.
But you were one game from it, weren't you?
I was there Thursday night, the biggest crowd fiddle ever at Hillsborough. We played Southend Thursday night. It was 76-77 season. We had to win to stay up. We scored 2 goals in the first 10 minutes. There we go. Early tactics. We won it 2-1. The crowd declared for that match was 25,000. The crowd in the ground was nearer 50,000. Trust me. Biggest crowd fiddle ever.
The good old days. I think we've all done that. In the old days at Highfield Road, you just turn up and go, 16,000.
Yeah, exactly.
16,000 in here.
Right. Now, here's another question. Here's a quiz question for all of you. Let's see who gets this right. I don't think any of you are going to get this right. What is the most interesting fact that connects Sheffield Wednesday and Coventry City, besides winning any trophies or wherever our sort of positions have been in the Football League? What is the most interesting fact which connects Sheffield Wednesday with Coventry City?
It's a bit subjective, isn't it?
Bit vague, isn't it?
Wide range.
So you've won the FA Cup. That's your one win in history, and we've obviously won it 3 times. But not to do with winning trophies. But what fact connects most of all? Besides, obviously, we had players who played for the same clubs as well, as we just mentioned those earlier.
Is it a football fact?
Yeah. What football fact connects Wednesday with Coventry City?
Ooh,
you'll love this. None of you will know it, but when you hear it, you'll love it.
I have no idea.
Well, put you out of your misery. Our first ground we ever played at was called Highfield, and your ground, Highfield Road. There we go. We played at Highfield before you did, because obviously we were formed in 1867, and you were formed in what year? Coventry formed?
83, but we moved.
1883.
We moved there in 99. So
right,
yeah.
But you were Highfield Road from
1899. We moved there.
I think, yeah.
All right, 89. Okay, yeah. Ours is just obviously they weren't the same grounds. We're in Sheffield, but it was called Highfield. We only became Owlerton or Hillsborough actually in 1914 is when it became Hillsborough. Yeah.
Well, Andrew, it's been great having you on.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Will you come back on next Thursday?
Thanks for teasing me.
Will you come back on next Thursday? We'll preview the FA Cup.
Yeah, let's see how we go Saturday. Who's going to the match from out of you? Any of you going? Right. Well, don't wear your colours.
And we'll have a chat about all things FA Cup next week. We won't talk about the league and how we've put you in your place.
Can I just say a quick one to you? I went to the last time we won in the Premier League there, which was a 2-1 last minute goal from Noel Whelan, and we were in corporate to say don't wear your colours, which is supposed to be all the posh people. and Noel Whelan put it in. And I went like that, and a Yorkshire voice said to me, "I'd sit down if I were you, son." And that was it. And I sat back down and went, all right, then fair enough.
I tell you what, there are 3 or 4 grounds in the country where no away teams never celebrate their promotion. And those, or 5, I'd say, and those 5 are Wednesday, Newcastle, Sunderland, West Ham, and Millwall. Don't celebrate if you do anything substantial on those grounds, whatever you do.
I'd second that.
Before we go, Andrew, are you still a member of the London Owls?
Well, not the way I was. Obviously, I'm one of the original London Owls. And one of my poems, actually, my book is called The Original London Owls. So we were initially established in 1970, and I was the player manager of the football team there. I've still got Terry Curran's number 7 away yellow shirt, which he gave me in 1980. So I've still got that. And so I was obviously part of that for many years, but I haven't paid my subscriptions to them. Obviously, I don't go to the match the way I used to. I did my 700 matches traveling from London, bearing in mind it's a 320-mile round trip home match throughout the 70s, 80s, and 90s. So it seems that our sort of demise has coincided with my lack of going there. I think I've been put off by the lack of sense. And obviously, nowadays I watch all the matches on live stream, but I've seen us. We've played in London, or we've been at Wembley, etc. But no, I haven't actually been to Hillsborough for about 15 years now. Not been to Hillsborough for 15 years, but I've watched the last 5 years, even more worth of games on live streams every match. So I don't miss any games.
We've got some breaking news from Rob Nichols, and we'll be pleased about this. Troy Deeney sacked as Forest Green manager.
Yeah.
What a shame.
They had a female manager, didn't they, before him? Was there a female manager went in for a short time, didn't she?
Well, should have been a bit more probably sympathetic to one of our ex-players as he was, because he sounded him out in public during the week, which is horrendous. Basically told him he's not going to kick a ball again. It's just...
he's a horrible player anyway.
Terrible.
Horrible.
Chamsley Wood.
Right.
Oh, well,
Andrew,
there you go.
mate, you've been charming.
Yeah,
and I've got to say, a lot nicer than the guy from Leicester we had on. And,
good stuff. Well, I love comedy. I do comedy myself anyway, so I love the comedy. I love the camaraderie. And
start?
Brilliant.
When are you going to start doing it then?
I tell you what, I'm a teacher, as your wife is. Tell your wife this joke. I'll give you the standard joke I always tell the students in school about the teacher who asks the student in class, "What is the difference between ignorance and apathy?" And the student replied, "I don't know and I don't care." Enjoy it.
Brilliant.
Right, we'll see you Thursday, Andrew.
Yeah, take care.
Well, good luck.
Bye, Andrew.
Bye,
Andrew.
Good luck.
Love it. Brilliant.
Top man. So he's a good guy. He's a good guy. It's very entertaining. And
You've got to love your club. You've got to love your club. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, and it's nice having people on who are like that. I was just to say, you love your club and all the rest of it.
Imagine being taught by him.
Sorry, CJ.
Imagine being taught by him.
I know.
As a kid, it'd be brilliant, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
he's 68. He's 68.
Wow.
Yeah. 68.
Yeah, he says he feels like he can't retire. He's got too much to offer. That's brilliant.
Oh,
wonderful.
Right, spot the ball. Are you ready for this?
I must say though, as he was talking, I was doubting my 3-0. He's convinced me. I'm really worried about Saturday now. He's convinced me.
Paul,
I hope none of the team have listened to him.
They have to do better, haven't they, under the new manager? But he was in place on Boxing Day, so I was more worried on Boxing Day than I would have been a few weeks earlier. But we beat them, and so fundamentally.
They did have 20 minutes, didn't they? Very good. They did have a good 20 minutes, didn't they?
Yeah.
I'd say as well.
Sorry, CJ. Sorry.
I'd say as well. Windass was out for about 3, maybe 4 games, and I think they had something like 3 wins, 2 draws. The 2 either side of the 3 or 4 games that he was out, and that they'd lost all the games that he was out for. So it shows how important he is. That Kadamata as well.
Is he back?
Is he
back?
He's good. Yeah. Your Windass.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, they interviewed him today, didn't they? On that. Yeah. I mean, a nice green bobble hat on.
I think the thing is, they are strong at home. They are good at home, and they against Southampton, the first game of the season. Although they looked awful for the first half an hour, they nearly pulled it back, didn't they? In that very first game against Southampton. Yeah. So we got to be. I mean, I know we're fans, so we're over the top. The players and our management team will toe everybody in line, won't they?
Robins will have them on, won't they? I think the thing is as well, it's not about being disrespectful to Wednesday. We're just in good form.
Yeah.
We've been solid defensively. The stats show that we haven't conceded a lot of goals this season, so we're entitled to be optimistic going into games, aren't we? I don't think that's being disrespectful to the opposition. It's just where we are.
I think, Vicky, you're right, but I think it's like, I'm married to a Yorkshire lass, so I'm married to a Leeds fan. So I have and I lived in Yorkshire for quite some time. They are very passionate, but if they don't get what they want early, they do have a tendency to get on the back of the players. And I think that's why I think that first 15 minutes, if we can weather that, and let's face it, we weathered it at Sunderland, we weathered it at Middlesbrough. We're made of different stuff, I think. If we can do that, I think if we can start, passing the ball about and Tats starts to weave his magic, I think we can get them on their back. That's my hope. It might be a vain hope, Vicky, but that's what I think. Is they're going to come out all guns blazing, and if they get a goal, then it's going to be tough. But if it doesn't, and I'm confident with how we're defending, is I think. For us, it's a longer game. I think our fitness and just the all-round footballing ability will.
So here's a
my view. Sorry, Vicky, if I interrupted.
Here's a question to all of you then, because you're going to have to wrap it up shortly. You've gone way over. I'll blame Andrew for that.
It's been brilliant. It's fantastic.
So, do we change anything from the starting lineup on Saturday? Do we go again?
Yeah, maybe actually. Yeah.
I'd put Rice in.
I don't think Hadji Wright's fit, by the way. I think.
If he's not, then no. I think we've got to go as we are.
It's not broke, don't fix it.
The only thing I might do actually is put Sims back in up front. I think away from home, his ability to sort of hold up the ball is better than Godden's, and I think that's important. I think that was important at Leeds. And so I think I'd put him back in. That's probably.
I agree with you. Sorry, I thought it was we go as the second half team rather than the first half team. Sorry, I misunderstood. I think we'll need Sims' physicality.
I mean, I did find it quite interesting when Godden was alluding the other day. I mean, it's fantastic, by the way. He got to 50 goals. I love the bloke. He's been so well, but I think it is quite interesting that he said he wants to match McSheffrey's total. And he alluded to wanting to. I think he was trying to allude to saying he wants to do it this season, but he'd need to score another 22 this season. So, I mean, if he does that, we're going to win the league and the cup, I think, because we've got another 5 games potentially in the cup and 19 in the league. So. I mean, I don't want to sound. Look, I've been one of his biggest fans, but so I don't want to sound too harsh on him. But I mean, there's been some times this season where I'm thinking he's not going to touch the ball 22 more times in a competition, let alone score 22 more times.
CJ, just to back that up. Look how different he looked against the League One Oxford defence.
Exactly, he found his space for those 2 goals.
And he wouldn't get that space in against most championship clubs, and that was the difference.
Do you know, on a theme?
Sorry, guys. Christopher Baker, Sims in for Godden. This seems to be the put Sims left wing instead of Palmer. That's Adam Shaw. That's interesting. Only change would bring Sims in for Godden. That's Dave Brannigan. We live and die. Agree. Just Sims in for Godden. So. I think that probably will happen anyway. I think with Palmer, he's one of those players that he can be brilliant for 10 minutes, so for 5 minutes. He's got I don't know what you think, Luke, what he's like. I mean, at times on Saturday, it felt like he had to come off, I thought, because he wasn't really doing a lot. I thought he was falling over his own feet, probably trying too hard. And I mean, against Leicester, it did change once he went off the pitch, actually, and the changes happened. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. Last season, I think he gets tired really easy as well. I truly believe he doesn't have. We are talking about Palmer, aren't we? Yes. Yeah. I don't think he's got 90 minutes of football in him. I really just don't. I don't. I've seen him start, and you see, it come the 65th minute, he looks like he's been running around for. He looks like a player that's playing in sort of injury time, the second half of not injury, extra time. You know, he looks like that. He just doesn't look like he's got it in him. But he's a physical guy. I just can't understand it. Maybe he's carrying a lot more weight around on his upper body than his legs can carry. But yeah,
you look at his history. I think last season he played, what was it, about 28, 29 times. That was the most he's ever played in a season.
Yeah.
Before that, I think it was 25. So
didn't some of the Bristol fans
most of the
to
time, 50, 60 minutes a game. Well, no, probably more towards the hour, about 60 minutes, I think it was his average sort of game time.
When we signed him, the Bristol fans said that on some posts. That,
yes, he did. That's right.
Yeah, you'll be lucky to get
there's nothing
90
wrong with
minutes
that.
out of him.
No,
especially now you've got 5 subs.
Yeah, he does get caught on the ball a bit sometimes as well, doesn't he? It's I feel sorry for Sheaf because I think Sheaf's been taking some, about him sometimes carelessly giving the ball away, but there's an awful lot of responsibility on that young man's shoulders.
Who's he passing to? Sometimes.
Well, exactly. He's looking up and no one's moving. I mean, now he's got a hair there. He's got some outlets and that, but I think Sheaf has been absolutely marvellous, and he really does. And I think people don't see that he does all that, the nasty work, as I think they call it, just breaking up play, and I think CJ, you're spot on there. Who does he pass to sometimes?
Right then, moving on because we have to end the show. We've got to spot the ball.
This has been brilliant today.
Spot the ball. I can safely say no one's got it.
Can I have a guess, Claudia? Because I've not had a guess yet.
Oh, go on, have a guess.
Can I say 18?
I can safely say no one's got it.
Surely, can I just ask, has anybody gone for like 23?
Oh, you should have gone for 23.
Is that actually it? What's Sheaf doing?
I don't know. What are they all doing?
Is Sheaf watching EastEnders or something?
No one's got their eye on the ball.
I know, ridiculous. Just a couple of things before we finish up. Obviously, the statue appeal for those who are able to donate. That's fantastic. Obviously, we got. If anyone can make the funeral of Hazel Mills, which is 25th of Jan. I think there's quite a few people going now, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
And like I said before, on the 4th of Feb, we have got Gary Thompson in the studio, which is I think it's fantastic. He's really keen. So if you've got questions, just bang them into us, and we'll ask him as much as possible. But Gary can talk more than Andrew can, to be honest. So you ask Gary one question and he goes on for an hour, so that could be interesting.
Yeah. Claudio, just to say that my old business, we had we ran some corporate events at the Rico, as it was then, and it was the Wednesday game. It was the one where they went down to 9 men, if you remember that. I think we won 5-0, was it, or something? And he was our guest of honor because we had some of my clients were Wednesday fans, and Gary Thompson was absolutely brilliant. He was just a great guy, and he spoke to my clients, the Wednesday, about his time at Wednesday and also at Coventry. So I could just say the man's a legend, and some of his goals. The one particularly was a 1-1 at Villa one night game. I got chased around the Whitton end for that, but it was worth it.
Yeah, I was fit as a fiddle back in those days. I used to get chased everywhere.
Yeah, I couldn't do it now.
Anyway, thank you all for being on tonight. Luke, CJ, welcome. Paul,
thank you.
Of course, co-host, Vicky. You have to tie you down sometimes. Get you here. Come on. We need you. But, well, I mean, I went for a 2-2. I know you all went for wins. I thought I'd better chuck in a 2-2 just to make him feel a bit better. But surely it's going to be 3-0. Come on.
Come on, it's got to be.
Anyway, play up Sky Blues.
Play up Sky Blues.
Bye.